ancient Japan, where morning mist drifted softly across the mountains, lived a young samurai named Hiroto, a warrior filled with dreams but haunted by constant failure. He trained tirelessly, swinging his sword until exhaustion, practicing archery until his fingers stung, yet defeat followed him everywhere. Younger fighters beat him, his aim faltered, and disappointment weighed heavily on his spirit. One morning, after losing again, Hiroto collapsed beneath a cherry blossom tree, petals falling around him like reminders of everything he couldn't achieve. "Why? Why do I keep failing?" he whispered, fear tightening his heart. These were not tears of weakness, but of deep frustration and doubt. As he sat in despair, an old monk appeared on the path nearby. The monk did not speak immediately. He simply observed Hiroto with calm, knowing eyes. And in that quiet moment, Hiroto sensed that this man might hold the wisdom he desperately needed. The old monk slowly approached Hiroto, his steps soft, deliberate, and filled with a serenity that seemed to calm even the wind whispering through the trees. When he finally spoke, his voice was gentle yet steady, like water flowing over smooth stones. "Why do you cry, young warrior?" he asked, and Hiroto bowed, ashamed of his tears. "Master," he said softly, "I give my best. I train with everything I have, and still I fail. No matter how hard I push, I feel myself breaking." The monk listened without judgment, then nodded, as if Hiroto's pain was something familiar, something he had seen in many hearts before. "Come with me," he said, not as a command, but as an invitation. Hiroto followed him along a narrow mountain path, where the morning fog curled around their feet. The forest grew thicker as they walked, bamboo rising tall and straight, like green pillars holding up the sky. Shafts of golden light broke through the canopy, painting the path in shifting patterns, as if nature itself were guiding them. The monk walked with a rhythm that suggested deep harmony with the earth, every footstep a meditation. Hiroto felt his own breath slow, his troubled mind quieting as the forest embraced him in its calm. After a long silence, the monk finally said, "What you seek cannot be found through force or strength alone. Nature holds the wisdom you need." As they reached a small clearing surrounded by towering bamboo, Hiroto sensed that an invisible doorway had opened, one that led to understanding far greater than he had ever imagined. In the heart of the forest stood two contrasting symbols of nature's lessons: a massive oak tree, thick and proud with roots that gripped the earth like claws, and beside it, a grove of slender bamboo swaying gracefully in the gentle wind. The monk gestured toward them and asked, "Tell me, Hiroto, which tree is stronger?" Hiroto answered confidently, "The oak, master. It is firm, solid, unmovable." The monk placed a hand on the oak's bark, tracing the deep cracks that ran like scars across its surface. "Yes," he said quietly, "and that is why it broke." Hiroto's eyes widened as he noticed the shattered branches at its base, the signs of storms it could not withstand. The oak stands rigid. It refuses to yield, and in the greatest winds, rigidity becomes its downfall. Then the monk stepped to the bamboo, gently pushing one stalk with his fingertips. It bent easily, bowing with the wind, yet rising again the moment pressure faded. "But the bamboo," he continued, his voice softening, "it sways, it bends. It flows with the storm instead of fighting it." Hiroto watched as the wind rippled through the grove, each stalk moving with effortless grace, like dancers responding to a silent rhythm. This tree survives not because it is the strongest, but because it is the most adaptable, the monk said. Remember, Hiroto, true strength is not found in refusing to move, but in rising back every time life pushes you down. And in that moment, Hiroto felt the first spark of understanding ignite within him. As Hiroto stood among the bamboo, the monk's words settled into his heart like seeds waiting to bloom. He reached out and touched a slender stalk. It was smooth beneath his fingers, firm yet flexible, strong yet soft. All my life, Hiroto murmured, more to himself than to the monk, I believed strength meant never bending, never showing weakness, never yielding. The monk smiled gently. And now you see the truth. Bending is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is survival. Those who refuse to bend are the ones who break first. Hiroto closed his eyes, and memories of every failure washed over him. The frustration, the anger, the self-blame. He saw clearly now that he had been fighting against his own nature, clinging to a rigid idea of strength that only exhausted his spirit. Slowly, he inhaled, letting the crisp forest air fill his chest. As he exhaled, he imagined releasing every doubt, every fear, every tightness that had held him captive. When he opened his eyes, the bamboo seemed to glow with quiet confidence. When the wind pushes it, the monk said softly, the bamboo does not resist. It moves, it listens, and when the storm ends, it stands straight again. Hiroto felt something inside him shift, an awakening, a clarity he had never known. His failures had not destroyed him, his refusal to adapt had. Now, with new understanding blooming within him, he whispered, I must learn to bend, so I can rise stronger. The monk nodded, for Hiroto had finally grasped the heart of the lesson. In the days that followed, Hiroto trained again, but this time with a renewed spirit, one shaped not by stubbornness, but by wisdom. He moved like the bamboo he had learned from, flowing, adapting, adjusting. When he missed a strike, he did not curse himself. He changed his stance. When he stumbled, he did not rage. He steadied his breath and tried again. Every failure became a teacher. Every mistake became a stepping stone. Slowly, Hiroto felt his confidence rebuild, not in a burst of pride, but in a quiet, unwavering certainty. One morning, as the sun rose over the forest, he returned to the clearing where his lesson began. The bamboo swayed gently, and cherry blossoms drifted through the golden light. The monk watched him from a distance, his eyes warm with approval. Hiroto stood tall, not like the rigid oak he once tried to become, but like bamboo, grounded, flexible, unbreakable. You have learned well, the monk said softly. Hiroto bowed deeply. I no longer fear the storms, he replied, because now I know how to move with them. Guided by his newfound resilience, Hiroto returned to his village and rose quickly in skill and wisdom. In time, he became one of the greatest warriors of his era, not because he was the strongest, but because he was the most adaptable. And whenever someone asked him the secret of his strength, Hiroto would simply smile and say, I learned to bend so that I would never break.